Did it right. All right. We should be live, everybody. Let's give it a minute for this to come up to make sure we are in fact live and for everybody to get the email notification.
Yeah, you are live on this side. I haven't seen yet, but it does say in the
try home.
Do this.
Home.
Do that. Give me 1 second. All right, everybody. So as you can see, a very special edition of the Treasure Hunt Amusement Park, because Toby and Shelley of AGK have been nice enough to come by and say hello. You guys know them. You guys love them. They have an awesome treasure hunt that you're going to hear all about. So what I want you two to do is, let's say somebody just lives under a rock and doesn't even know about your treasure hunt. I thought we would just start there. Just tell them from the basics of what's going on.
That's fair. I'm going to let Shelley start.
All right. Well, once upon a time, we were a YouTube channel that talked about the Forest Fen treasure hunt. And when that was found, we decided to start our own treasure hunt. And it all kicks off with this book, A Gypsy's Kiss, a treasure hunt adventure. It's a story of Toby's a special time in his life when he was 15 years old, and he traveled from Santa Fe up to Abiquiu and then down to New Orleans on his motorcycle, or his uncle's motorcycle, and his adventures along the way. This introduces a treasure hunt with a verse that is in the back of the book. If you figure out the treasure verse, then you can find the treasure, and it is worth a little over $10,000 in cash and valuables.
I'm going to push that. I think it's a way over $10,000.
It's getting bigger.
Yeah. Are you guys added to it since you went live with the hunt, or no?
Well, what has been added to it is the contributions people are making to our GoFundMe campaign. It just hit $5,000 last night. La Colia gave us $2,000, so there's $7,000 in cash, plus all the valuables in the treasure chest. And you know, I know it sounds silly to say it, but we have $1,600 worth of CBD jelly beans that Dave Klein sent us. So, and then lots of silver coins, lots of rare coins, several Spanish doubloons or Spanish reales. We have if you look at the picture on the right-hand side of the picture, there's a number of $1, $2, and $1, $2, $5, and $10 bills, and they're silver certificates. So they have more numismatic value than they have face value.
Okay.
But you also see the $20, $100 bills that La Colia sent us in that treasure chest. So it's comfortably over $10,000 now.
And I see some pearls or some other kind of jewelry in there as well.
Yeah, and those were actually given to us at last year's Fenbury. A young man, do you remember?
2 years ago.
Was it 2 years ago?
2 years ago.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, we've been holding on to him.
What's his name? You remember his handle?
Don't.
Silver. Was it Silver Fox?
No, he's the one that found the other.
Right, he's the one that found it. But he walked up to us, and he had his grandmother.
Somebody in his family.
Somebody in family has died and left him a bunch of jewelry, and he handed us the box, and he said,
"That's awesome.
What to do with it." So there are some real pearls in there. There's some costume jewelry as well, but 3 of the 4 pearl strands are real pearls.
Nice. There's some
natural set of pearls. So
there's some good people in this community, right? I mean, you know, people are just like, here, go extend the thrill of the chase. Let's keep it going. You know,
I think that for us was really important, because literally, except for $1,000 that we used to kick off the GoFundMe campaign, everything else, there's a couple of items. Like, you guys sent me a silver Fen coin that's in there.
Right.
I contributed a couple of small things that are in the chest, but everything else has been donated by the community. And it was all started by Sarah and Brad Kinzer. They literally collected a bunch of antique items and sent them to us and said, put this in your next treasure chest. And the plan was to have that treasure hidden at Fenbury 2020.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And of course, it never happened.
Yeah, and then everything changed, including treasure being found. It's like the whole world got turned upside down, didn't it?
Yeah, and you've probably heard this story more than you care to, but on that night, Christy, I finally, my phone was exploding, right? And I was just ignoring it because I had invited Shelley and Kevin over for dinner. And we were past dinner. We were watching a movie. We were doing some Netflix. And suddenly my phone started going off and I was more interested in the movie. I ignored it. And finally, Christy texted me and she said they found a treasure. And I think I questioned it. And she said, nope, it's been found. So we decided to go live. You guys had already been live for about an hour, I think. Yep. And while we were Netflixing. And so we went live. We spent an hour and 15 minutes on. And then we finished and kind of went through the 5 stages of grief, but all in about 15 minutes, like, oh, this is depressing. Oh, what do we do now? And so I looked at Shelley and I said, so what do you think we should do now? I mean, my reaction was, we have a Fen treasure channel. What do we do now? You know, there's no treasure to be found. And we're very much in the Occam's razor state. Like, we believe that Fen hid a treasure, that he hid it in Wyoming, that it wasn't found in 10 years, and then somebody found it in Wyoming. So that's the simplest solution. That's the one we went with. We're not harboring any conspiracies. So, so I looked at her and I said, what do we do now? And she said,
well, let's hide a treasure. We already had the chest. We got that a couple of years ago. We have all the things from the Kinzers, and we had a start. And people were sending us things. And so I said, let's hide a treasure and write a book. And he's like, what are we going to write? I said, well, we can write the story of the Gypsy's Kiss.
Because I had told it to her. I mean, she's heard it often enough that she knew the story. And as it turns out, the initial cut at the story, as we, because the way we did it is, I don't have the patience to write. So the way we were doing it was, I was talking and she was typing, is what it boiled down to. And then if she had a question, what was really fun is Kevin was around and he'd say, because I had it all in my head in terms of 2020 things. And there's cash that's involved along the way. And he said, you know, your uncle just gave you the equivalent of $4,000 in 1964 money. And I had it like in my head, you know. And so we had to go back and do those kinds of edits and cleaned it up. At the end of the first draft, we had about, I think it was 28,000 words.
Something like that.
28,000 words. Yeah. Yeah. But we had the basic story, right? Toby's ride from Abiquiu to New Orleans. So then we realized, well, we need to turn this into a treasure hunt and we need to add more dialogue, right? Because the story was just the story. It was me telling a story. So we started by adding the elements of the treasure hunt. What do we have to add here to make this a treasure hunt? So we started adding that. That got us to about, I don't know, 40,000 words. And then because it was a story, we started adding the dialogue and I had to go through more than, we walked through the door, et cetera, et cetera. And by the time we were done, we were over 50,000 words. So
is that the final book, 50,000?
The book is just over 50,000. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So I got the ebook that night, that midnight when it came out. We were actually doing a Zoom for the Grand Adventure at midnight, and somebody like, I just got Toby and Shelley's book, and I'm like, what? They're like, yeah, it's here, the ebook. So I went and ordered it and downloaded it right away. So I read all of it.
Surprised as everybody else because it wasn't August 31st. We had told Amazon we don't want it to release. We had planned on a September 1st release date. And then Amazon let us know that they have this competition for new writers every year. And it's their UK division. So it's paid in pounds. It's 20,000 pounds. But you had to be published by August 31st. So we changed it from September 1st to August 31st.
Okay.
What we didn't realize was that was August 31st at midnight, East Coast time.
Oh, gotcha.
So it came out 2 hours earlier. In your case, 3 hours earlier than we expected.
You know what? Maybe it was 9 p.m. our time then. It wasn't midnight. It was because I was like midnight for the Zoom pretty late. So yeah, it was probably 9 p.m.
Yeah, exactly. That's why. Because it was 9 p.m. It was midnight New York time and they released it. So we were as surprised as anyone else. Thankfully, it was uploaded, ready to go and everything. So
the people that have ordered the actual book, that's still being shipped, or have people gotten their books in the mail? You know?
I don't know if I don't think anyone's actually gotten their books because they couldn't have ordered until August 31st. That was when I
think the 5th was the first day.
Right. If you're a Prime member, you'll get it around the 5th. but the reason is it's print on demand.
Yeah.
So they don't actually print the book until it's ordered, right? It's not like on a shelf someplace.
And due to COVID, a lot of print on demand places are reduced in staff, and some of them are shut down. So it's taking a little bit longer for print books.
Gotcha. Okay. But everybody can order the ebook if they just have to have it. And as a treasure hunter, I want the printed book, but I want an ebook. I want a Kindle version that I could search. I mean, that just
that was one of the reasons we decided to go with the Kindle version, because we know as treasure hunters ourselves, one of the big things that we wanted out of this was the ability to search the text. And that's what the Kindle gives you. You have the ability to search it. Has a very good search capability. As a matter of fact, I remember having a conversation at one time thinking, well, maybe we need to put out a Word version of the doc. So because eventually people want to search it, you don't have to. Kindle enables you to do that. And Kindle is a free download. The Kindle book reader is a free download. So.
Yeah.
So I was a little surprised when I got to the poem in the book to see how it looked. And I said, oh, I see what they did here. It's pretty funny, though. It's part of the puzzle, right? That's just part of the fun. Or however you want to look at it.
It was amazing in the sense that, I mentioned to you, as Shelley was saying, there was a point at which we had to add the part that was the treasure hunt, right? In my real life, that none of that treasure hunt stuff occurred, right?
You had the story and you kind of had it written out. Now you've got to put the clues in, right?
We have to develop what happens on the treasure hunt, and we did that. And so it got this idea. The event that took place in Mariah's bedroom, where we ended up jumping into the Mississippi River from the second story.
Hey, spoilers.
Oh, sorry.
That's a little spoiler. That's okay. Should I hit the breaking news button? That's okay.
There's the part where she holds up the poem and shows it to me. That's the point that it starts not taking place. That's where we decided to treasure. And so that added like about 10,000 words, being able to tell that story and incorporate it into it. So, and that's why when Amazon asked us, we decided to go with fiction because there is some real stuff in there, but at some point it becomes fiction in order to make the treasure hunt real. So,
gotcha.
And there was this wonderful theme throughout the book of using language, both Spanish and French, along the way. And we thought, wouldn't it be fun if we developed this? And I don't know how many of you have gotten to the book, but the character who wrote the poem happened to be French Acadian.
In real life.
Well,
no, he was a fictional character.
He's a fictional character, but we made him. So that's the challenge of this. We made him, how in fiction you
But
create.
the guy who comes after him is a real person. That is his actual real name, his first name anyway.
Mhm.
And he actually said those exact words that we wrote in the book. So we weaved a lot of real stuff in there.
Yeah.
So us as the reader, we've got to figure out what the fictional accounts are, because that's where the clues are. I would assume that's, or is it blended to where you can't tell it? You can't tell it.
It's definitely blended. We did a real good job of incorporating hints in the book. The clues are in the verse, but there are hints in the book. And we made another pass. So the first pass was the first draft. Mm-hmm. Then we made a second pass to add the treasure story. Then we made a third pass to add dialogue. And while we were adding that dialogue, we decided, let's do this. So
interesting. So I'll just take a time out and say hello to everybody in Yellowstone. I see K-Pro in the chat. A drink, anybody. So unfortunately myself, Toby and Shelley could not make the Yellowstone meetup. So hello to everybody that's there. We hope you have a fun time.
A lot of our friends in there.
And of course, the thrill of the chase isn't over. You just buy AGK's treasure hunt book. Boom, you got another treasure hunt you can work on.
Right after this.
Very similar to Forrest Fenn's treasure hunt in that the hints are in the book, the clues are in the poem, and there's a treasure. Go get it.
And what we're noticing is I don't want to say that I criticized it, but I would comment on the treasure hunt and I would say things like, well, one of the reasons it hasn't been found is because we're adding chaos to it. Every time somebody comes up with an idea and shares it with the world, if it's not the correct one, it adds chaos and it makes it harder to find it if you incorporate the chaos. into your own thinking. Well, what we noticed is that chaos on our treasure hunt is already starting.
Already. Because I know people that are like, I'm going boots on the ground this weekend. I know where it is. It's
Yeah.
I don't know if it's possible to know where it is.
You know what? When I got my copy of The Thrill of the Chase, I had a solution in 3 days, and that weekend I took my son, who I tried to kill, on that
You
trip.
did.
That story. Yeah.
And we were out there and I was convinced this is over. Toby's got this done, So,
That's
and
fun.
the Rio Chama, and of course
That was the history of the first time he went searching, the first of 37 times.
37 times.
And then did you guys do the poem, the format, to mimic Forrest Fenn's kind of a thank you to him, or does it just work out that way?
I'm going to let Shelley tell that part of the story.
Well, the difference, and I don't know the answer to Forrest Fenn's poem.
Mm-hmm.
So I can only imagine that the clues were from begin at where warm waters halt to your request to cease.
Obviously.
There was extra stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas with ours, every line is a clue.
And can you say how many clues there are in your poem? Have you come out and said these, you've solved 10, 12, 15, whatever it is? Or have you not said that?
It is the same as Forrest in that you take each one,
each line,
analyze each line, you analyze the metaphor within it, and you match that to a map. So
would it be, and then the treasure hunter trying to solve it is going to ask you 100 questions, and we'll see what you guys want to answer or not.
You know what? I told her before we got on, I said, Mike is a treasure hunter. He's going to ask as many questions as he can. So we'll answer as many as we can.
Okay. Well, I love the idea that you have to translate it. Now, I know some people have said, I can't make it out. But you guys were nice enough to supply a PDF. If they go to the website, they can download something you can zoom in on. It's still a little bit hard to read, but
we didn't think it was that hard, but we actually offered anyone who wanted, we can send them the JPEG file, and they can put that onto Photoshop, and it's a high resolution JPEG file, so you can really blow it up. But you should be able to do that with a PDF. So.
And that's just a matter of translating. And I like how you're like, just put each word in Google Translate, no problem. How many words are in your poem? Is it 166? Is it anywhere close to Forrest?
No, I
it's
don't think so.
20 lines.
We didn't count the words. Yeah.
Okay. Well, then that must not be a clue. All right. I'm getting there.
Leave that up to we'll leave that up to the searchers so that they can add chaos. Now the number of words in the poem become.
Are there any codes or ciphers in the book? I don't see any obvious ones, but would there be any that maybe you have to figure out or something?
I think we're comfortable in saying that there are not. We didn't want to. We had a very solid strategy right from the beginning. We didn't want to confuse it with anything else. Like, had we put ciphers, as a matter of fact, Shelley and I had this conversation, and
he wanted to do ciphers,
right.
and he wanted to do this, that. No.
Right. She asked, "What's the point?" And I said, "To cause confusion and chaos." Like
Kate Bro, she hates them.
Yeah, we're not going to do that. So there's none of that in it. You're not going to. If you find a cipher or a code in the book, you created your own rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Right. Nice. And did I hear you say each line is a landmark, relates to a landmark along the journey, or did I hear that incorrectly?
Each line of the poem.
When you figure out what it means or what it refers to, is that a landmark? Is that a physical landmark along the journey, the path?
That you can match it up to a map. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think necessarily
answers
it's
your
a
question.
specific landmark,
Right.
Because the way the metaphors were written was that they represented an identifiable physical location, but not unique enough to call it, like, some of us who were looking for the blaze always envisioned it was a single sticking up rock or a white mark in a granite surface, et cetera, et cetera. This is more like an area.
Okay. So each line of the poem, if translated correctly, leads you to the same area.
Yes.
Okay.
Gets you closer, progressively closer
Yeah.
to where that's
That
the
makes
best way to
sense.
describe it.
Gotcha. And I think you showed that the proxy was the 3D bronze chest wrapped, correct?
So the proxy, we made up since somebody I think it was Kevin said, well, he could produce a dozen of those, 3D bronze. Not that we know that 3D bronze isn't like that. So what we decided to do is produce a unique token that's inside the treasure chest.
And you can see a picture of that in the booklet that you can download off of our website.
Not the token. You can see.
No, not the token. The chest.
So I wrapped the chest in. So I put the token in, closed the box up, and wrapped it in heat shrink to protect it from the elements. But the nice thing about it is 3D Bronze had sent us a version of the chest in PLA that was more durable than the ones that he was sending us before. So we expect that it's going to survive the elements. Like we said, it's hidden. It's very much protected from the elements.
And I believe, if I remember right, so if I'm definitely wrong, correct me, it's not buried, right? You didn't bury it?
That's right. You do not need to dig.
There is no digging involved. You do not need a shovel.
And those lines of the poem must take you right to it. I mean, are you within like a foot, or is it a general area and you have to search all over the place to try and find this thing?
You know what? I'm going to let Shelley answer that because I think she'll have the most accurate representation.
Well, I think what Toby said is correct. The hints will get you started. Mm-hmm. Clues in the poem progressively get you closer. And at the very end, if you followed it correctly, you should be in the right place. That you look around and you should be able to understand the metaphors well enough to see the things that are mentioned, and then you can find it from that.
It'll make sense if you're in the right area.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, and I'll use the blaze as an example, whoever found this treasure figured out what Fenn meant when he called it the blaze. I'm not going to use the word decipher. When you interpret the metaphors correctly, you'll be able to say, "Oh, okay, I get that." It's not.
But you have to think like the treasure princess to do it.
Oh wait, that means Shelley came up with these clues. You had input, right, Toby? Oh, Shelley came up with the puzzle. So it was your story, Toby. It was kind of your story, but it's your puzzle. Is that right? So it's a 50-50 collaboration.
As in everything that we do. Should I tell them what happened to me when you showed it to me the first time?
I don't know.
Location? Showed what, Toby?
It's safe to say, then go ahead.
So after she had written the poem, and the French version we don't refer to as a poem because it's not rhymed correctly.
Okay.
The English version rhymes.
Well, wait a minute. That could be. That might be. I don't know if you said that on your show already. That might be breaking.
In the
instructions.
In the download, there's a page in which Shelley has instructed you on how to work this out.
Okay.
And one of the things she says is, if you've translated it correctly, it'll rhyme.
Yeah.
Interesting. See, I missed that. But again, I have not finished the book yet. I haven't read it all the way through yet. So awesome. Okay. Well, that helps. That helps translation, because if it's not rhyming, you haven't translated something correctly.
Yeah. We've already seen a couple of the translations that people posted, and I'll say that they're
interesting.
They're interesting.
So if you've seen a translation that is 100% correct yet?
No.
Interesting. Okay. Interesting. Okay. You read the story, kind of like Thrill the Chase. You read it once for the story, and then you read it again looking for the hints. And then the poem at the end, you've got to translate. That would probably be step one. I wonder if would you recommend translating the poem before I even read the story? So I understand what I'm looking for in the story.
If it was me, the process that I'd do what Indiana Jones would do, right? I'd take the image and I'd blow it up until I could take each one of the French words and translate them with the correct accent marks, because French has accent marks and there are accent marks in that. So blow it up, copy it, print it out by hand, then type it out with the accent marks, and then start the translation there. So I'd start with a translation, get to the poem, and then work at it until the poem rhymed.
So the accent marks are important for translation. If you have a word and the accent is in the wrong area, will it translate to the wrong word?
We've already seen a couple of translations where the accents in the words were not incorporated, and so it changes the French word, therefore it changes the definition.
Interesting. Okay, well that's good. That's good info to know, especially before you even start. Like I haven't even started translating the poem, so I'm glad. Well, thank you for coming on.
I would start translating the poem,
Okay.
and then I would read the book.
Okay.
I would translate the poem first, and then I would read the book.
Well, I'm definitely going to search the words in the poem on the Kindle version of the book, but I don't know if you guys made it that easy or not.
It's not that easy. No.
No, okay. I didn't think it would be. All right.
The enjoyment.
Yeah.
And then look for those aberrations around the edge, the little things that catch up in your brain.
You know, it's funny because as much as we tried not, we didn't want to mimic the Forrest Fenn treasure hunt, but we find ourselves using some of this same phraseology where you want to tell people, read the book and see if there's anything that sticks out for you.
Well, we tried to mimic the Forrest Fenn hunt as much as we could because that's our audience. That's what they were enjoying doing and working out and working on and figuring out. And so we wanted to provide the same kind of thing because that's what they were already familiar with and they already enjoyed.
Mm-hmm.
So are there warm waters in the poem? I'll just ask you. Is there a warm waters? No. So the clues don't line up like that. Okay.
No.
Okay. That'd be interesting though if you could make that work.
Unlike Forrest's poem, there were points at which we realized we could ignore that the clues started and began where warm waters halt and ended, look quickly down your quest to seize. So you had to spend the rest of your time wondering, what's the hell? Why? What's all that other stuff? What are the other 3 or 2.5 verses?
Right.
All about? In this one, there is no question.
No superfluous.
Yeah, there's no additional verbiage in there.
They're all clues. If it's in the poem.
It's only 20 lines and not 24, but
yeah.
So Sam, Searcher Sam has a good question. Do either one of you speak French fluently?
No.
So why, is there a reason you picked French for the language and not?
It's just part of this, as you'll see when you read the book. It's just the storyline. It's
written by a person who spoke that language.
Yeah.
So.
And I know doesn't it end? Louisiana has got a big French component to it, and I see a Louisiana shirt, so obviously that's the state where it's.
It does, but you have to recall that the trip actually went through New Mexico and Texas.
Gotcha.
And to read the story, you have to note the fact that the person who wrote the verse was captured and hung in Texas.
Oh, okay. Oh, so usually when somebody has a treasure, right, and they get caught, they kind of hide it in that same state, don't they? They know they're going to get caught. They know it's imminent, so they hide it, and they write something like a poem to let you know where it is. See, I don't know that kind of a story, like a pirate story. I got to.
And you'll have to again go through the book.
It's an updated pirate. They're gangsters, so.
Okay.
They're stagecoach and train robbers rather than pirates, but yeah.
Okay. And Texas is so big. It's a perfect state to hide something in. Okay. So no ciphers, no codes. Is there a blaze? I mean, I'm sure we have to figure that out by translating the poem correctly, but is there something that marks the location of where the actual proxy is hidden? Like a blaze. So if you're in the right area, you need to find that one thing and you're like, oh, it's right there somehow hidden. Okay. That makes sense. And is this location where it's hidden special to either one of you, or is this just a random place that you guys picked to hide it?
I think it became special as a result of the fact that we decided it was perfect for what we were trying to do. But prior to that, it was, it was not special to either one of us, or anyone else, as far as I know.
But I would assume you had been there before. That's how you knew where you wanted to hide it. Oh, this is the route and I'm going to drive it and then like pick a spot and that's where we're going to make it work.
The route was, we're going to drive the route and then hide it on the way back.
Gotcha. Okay. And did you guys do that together or did you just do it on your own, Toby, when you hid it?
So we wanted to mislead the people a little bit, but Kevin and Shelley were both with me when we hit it.
Oh, so when you were posting, I'm on my way, that probably was not when you actually hit it, right? Oh, that's awesome. Okay. Can you say how long it's been out there? And I don't mean that in like, when did you guys take a trip, but just has it been out there 6 months, a year, like a long time ago, or not that long?
After Forrest Fenn's treasure was found.
So did you have this idea before the treasure was found, or it was since? Okay.
It was, everything happened starting on June 6th. We had our little wake that everybody else went through.
Right.
On June 7th, we called it pivoting. We pivoted.
We wrote the outline for the book and we got started.
Wow, 3 months. You guys came up with the idea, executed it, got the treasure, which is sometimes the hardest part. So, and then and created the book and did it. So that's awesome. Okay.
So yeah, it was all done in less than 3 months.
Well, that's great. So 1 year, it's going to last for 1 year, September 1st of next year, correct?
It actually ends. So one of the things that you learn, as you probably know, in the military is you have to be very cautious with Quad Zulu, because it's hard to decide, is it on one day or the other? So it ends on August 31st at 11:59 p.m.
Gotcha. Okay. So yeah, very precise in case that day somebody's trying to find it, right?
Right, exactly.
Zulu or local?
Ooh, Zulu or local? I hadn't even thought out. We're gonna we'll use no, it's going to be, we started it on Mountain Daylight Time, so we'll have to finish it.
Got it.
Well, actually, we started on Eastern Time because they released the book at Eastern Time.
Mountain, all the times in the rooms are Mountain Time, Mountain Daylight Time.
Do you both fully expect it'll be found, or do you think is that chance that it may? Because I've heard you say it's going to roll over into the next if nobody finds it.
So I don't think any one of either of us knows. Right. You do as much as you can to make it an interesting treasure. It is in our benefit for it to last as long as possible so that we can sell books and keep the channel going, et cetera, et cetera. But we know one of the things, and I said this on our show last night, one of the things that we wanted to accomplish was we wanted to respect the contributions that were made by all our viewers in both cash and valuables and time, et cetera, et cetera. So we didn't want to make it the kind of treasure hunt that we did. When we did the treasure hunt at Finbury a couple of years ago, it was hidden and the poem was written so that it would be found on that day, right? That was going to be the objective. This one, we wanted to respect the contributions that everybody had made and made it hard enough so that it's out there a while. And it is very possible that it could go the entire year. And if it does, we'll roll it over. We've already got the outline for the next book. So
interesting. Okay. Well, I know there's going to be a ton of people.
Everybody on, September 1st of next year will say, here's where it was. Here's what everything meant.
Solution will come out whether it's found or not.
Yeah, absolutely. Our plan is to head towards where the proxy was hidden and literally make a video walking everyone through the clues.
Okay. It sounds like the perfect treasure hunt. So I guess it all comes down to the solution, as all these things always do, right? So if Shelley created the puzzle, did you critique it at all? Because for me, K-Pro comes up with an idea and I give her my opinions, but was it good as presented, or did you guys have to tweak it a little bit?
It was so good as presented. And I knew the solution.
Right.
It was so good as presented, I couldn't figure it out.
Wait a minute. You knew the solution, meaning you knew the location. And then when you went through it, you couldn't resolve the clues to that location. Well, I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. Okay.
Figure out because a lot of people are going to say, well, you just have to figure out Toby to figure out where this thing is. You have to figure out. and she gave it to Kevin as well, and it stumped him.
Wow. Okay. What treasure hunts have you worked on before Forrest Fenn, Shelley? Any?
No, just no.
That was kind of the intro to treasure hunting, was the Forrest Fenn one.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Interesting. Very interesting. Are there any plans for hints if just nobody is getting this, 6 months from now or something? How about hints?
We have announced that
Mhm.
if people aren't getting, we're going to give hints that reduce the size of the search area.
Oh,
That's-
gotcha. Okay.
We hear that we're up to 5 reviews now. And when we hit 50 reviews on Amazon, we are going to release some kind of helpful hint.
You heard it, everybody. Get over to Amazon and leave. And I'm assuming you want honest reviews, right? I mean, you're looking for a good review.
we're
We
looking.
hope for good reviews, but we take
want
anything because
honest reviews.
just
Right.
like YouTube, Amazon counts engagement. They don't care if it's good or bad.
Mhm.
So
Now,
Be
we would like
honest.
to be honest. If there's something wrong with it, we think we did a good job of writing the book. We think it's a good story. And the fact that it's a treasure hunt makes it even more intriguing.
The unknown says, now I need to view the softer side videos. Any hints in those videos, Shelley? You still say yes. Everybody will go watch them.
Guys should all watch the softer side and read everything I've ever written.
That's
I am of the opinion that had I taken the responsibility for writing the poem before the translation, I think you guys would have found it immediately.
Yeah, he's Mr. Give it all away.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, when we talked about ciphers, she said, "What are you going to do for ciphers?" And I said, "I'm going to use Aztec symbols, and I'm going to give them the exact geographic coordinates."
a lat long in Mayan.
No, you are
you're
not.
Right, right. Interesting. I did not know that Shelley had come up with the puzzle. That's really cool.
Even at the last minute took out a couple of hints because we thought, no, this is too easy. We got to get those hints out of there.
The text of the book, not the poem itself, but the text.
Out of the text.
Out of
yeah.
the book, yeah.
So is every line of the poem has a corresponding hint in the text that helps you with it?
I don't think it's that
No,
clear.
it's more
right?
of the hints will give you a starting place. Then you get to the poem and it gets you progressively closer.
A geographic starting place.
Yes.
Oh, I see. So it might give you a state, or it might give you a county, or okay, I understand. Or it could be a interstate number that you get off on. Okay, I got you. There's different ways you could narrow it down. I mean, there's zip code, there's exit, there's it's an interesting thought process.
Deal with the fact we had to deal with the fact that the roads that are there today that we were limited to, some of them didn't exist when I made that initial ride.
Gotcha.
So the map represents it, although it represents the ride from Abiquiu to New Orleans, it represents the ride as you would make it today, as much as possible as you would make it today. It didn't vary in the big things. I mean, I didn't take interstates back then because there weren't as many. I avoided the big cities, including Albuquerque.
So you don't have to study road maps from
Yeah.
1964.
Right.
There's
So-
a hint.
The that's the current maps, current layouts of today. So that's a good point, because a lot of people may think I got to go back to what was going on then.
We looked at it and we thought this is creating an unnecessary complication, and that's not what we did. Here's what we did, and I made a lot of fun doing it. And by the way, if you ever get to Louisiana, whether you're looking for the treasure or not, they have a place where you can drive up and buy a daiquiri of up to 44 ounces.
Daiquiris to
Frozen.
go.
It's called Daiquiris to Go. And
Only in
became-
Louisiana.
it became one of our rituals. Every time we went through a town, we'd look for a daiquiris to go to see if we could get a daiquiri to go with it. So,
And
when the first time,
Like 100 flavors
Yeah.
too.
and the first time the young lady handed it to me, I said, "Is this legal?"
Yeah.
And she goes, "As long as you got the top on."
Nice. It's a different way of life down there.
Yeah, very relaxed. Yeah.
Right. Okay, I'm really excited. I think I'm going to stay up and read the whole thing and start. Well, like you say, translating the poem is the first step. So maybe I'll do that first, and then before I even get into the story, I've read like the first 3 chapters or so. But I was trying to do it in bed on my phone, and I'm like, this isn't going to work. I need the big screen to put everything up. Yeah.
Screen and or wait for the book. It's a good read. I mean, I'm not a rapid reader, and I read the whole thing in about 5.5, 6 hours. So it's not it's not going to kill you to read it. And like I said, we feel like it's a good story. It has lessons in it. It was when you'll see in the preface, I tell everybody this is the first few steps in the life that where I spent changing myself into a man, and growing and being happy and more because my father's death just nearly destroyed me.
I saw that in the book and I thought, wow, I didn't know that about you, Toby. I thought, wow, that's yeah.
So I took it, like any 11-year-old boy would, but with the help of especially the Christian brothers. I think the two key, my uncles were very good, but the Christian brothers and the people I met during my service time, the NCOs and the officers that I met in the Army were really, they were cheerleaders. You can do this. You can do this. Quit being angry. And by the time I was out of the service, all of that anger and rebelliousness had been pushed out of my life.
Gotcha. Eleanor Blast says the story is worth the read on its own. People, the hunt is just the cherry on top. So that's a nice compliment.
Yeah, thank you.
But nothing else will be added to the treasure, correct? The treasure is set as is.
No, we're continuing. If we get more donations, we'll add them to the treasure. We're going to keep the GoFundMe campaign. Let me see where it's at right now. Hang on a second.
Oh, see, I didn't know if everything was transitioned to the next treasure hunt.
No, it won't transition until it's found, or it's at $5,000 still. So it won't transition until we get close to the end either way. And then we'll start doing it again. We don't have any problems. And hopefully we can make another contribution to start it off.
So I'm going to call it out right here. This is another roller coaster in the Treasure Hunt Amusement Park. Forest Bend was the big one, and this one might not be as high, but this is definitely a roller coaster.
It's not a $2 million treasure hunt, but we think it's going to be as much fun. Right. $2 million is life-changing. I don't know necessarily that finding 10, 12, maybe 13.
I like those mine car ones, the roller coasters.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are my favorites. So let's be that.
Mine car race from Indiana Jones.
No,
but they go really fast and they're fun, but there's no big loop-de-loops or anything really scary.
Remember what was the one? It was the middle one where where he had the little Vietnamese boy with him.
Right.
And she kept saying to the woman, hang on to your potatoes, lady. We're going for a ride. And at one point they get on one of those rides like that. This is what that's going to be like.
It's a mine car.
Yeah. Mine car.
What makes this so much fun is people know you. It's AGK's treasure hunt. If some random stranger was doing the exact same thing, we would talk about it, but it wouldn't have the same impact.
Yeah.
The community knows you guys. They watch the show and they're excited. And let's see who can match which with Shelley and figure it out. It's going to be a lot.
Jack says Temple of Doom. That's what it was.
Uh-huh.
Temple of Doom. Yeah, that was a good one. So, okay, everybody, I'm trying to think what else. I mean, I could ask obvious questions you're not going to answer, so I won't even do that. But also because I think you've talked about this before, because it's down south, wintertime really shouldn't affect it, correct?
Central Texas can get cold, and during the winter it can get icy. But for the most part,
right.
If you're in New Mexico, northern New Mexico, we already gave away a hint where we said it's not north or west of Bernalillo, which is the town that I live in.
North or west. Oh, okay. All right.
West of Bernalillo, and that means you're going to be in the warmer climes. You're not going to have to track through snow and ice.
Gotcha.
Although, like I said, Central Texas having
Dallas does get ice storms in the winter, but if you just watch the weather, you should be fine most of the year.
I was at my last assignment before I went to the East Coast was Fort Hood, Texas. So I lived in Central Texas for about a year.
Okay.
They had their moments. Yeah.
Eleanor says, based on what Toby said tonight, my initial hunting ground is out. But wouldn't you rather know now than would you go out 4 boots on the ground and then realize it? So
there should be nothing that we said tonight that would give you any indication that it still isn't in one of those 3 states. We traveled routes and we hid the treasure on the return trip.
Say that again.
We traveled the entire route.
Okay.
And hid the treasure on the return trip.
Which means it could be anywhere along the entire route.
Anywhere except north and west of Bernalillo.
So Amy Seeks on YouTube. Amy says, I'd love to hear AGK give their pitch for choosing this hunt over the others. So why yours and maybe not some of the other ones that are going on right now?
Well, so I think that leaves that up to the marketing, Toby. So there are several things. Number one, the other hunts that are going on that are active right now, like Vegas Die, and I don't want to be critical. Well, you know what? I don't want to be critical of any one of them. Never mind. I'm not.
I'll
Amy,
take that question.
go ahead. I'll let Shelley do it.
The reason that you, our audience, would like this hunt better than anyone else is because we tailored it especially for you. This is tailored for you because it's so similar to the forest fen hunt. Everybody was disappointed at how it ended up, right? We didn't know the answers. We didn't get to hear how the poem worked out. So this is an opportunity for you to be in on a hunt where you are promised to hear all of the answers at the end. So you're not left hanging. This is our way of making up for all of that disappointment of the Forest Fen treasure by offering you the poem, the book, the hints, the clues, the same type of camaraderie that we had before. We can carry all of that forward. So this hunt was tailored especially for you.
And we had the lessons learned from other hunts so we could incorporate them into the rules and the caveats. And we think we've done a really good job of making sure that the rules make it fair and the caveats give you, it says it's not buried. It says it's not on private lands.
It's not in an acid lake.
It's
We
not in
forgot
an
that one.
acid lake. There's no hand grenade in the little tiny chest that
Very clear it's not in Yellowstone National Park.
definitely not in Yellowstone National Park. So we tried to clarify everything so that you knew what to get into. As a matter of fact, on the page that has the that has the treasure hunt rules, it starts by saying, if you choose to participate in searching for the Gypsy's Kiss treasure, you agree to the following rules. So everybody knows, everybody's starting off unequal. There's no hints. We've also agreed that any questions we answer will be made in public, either on our show or a show like yours. So there's no, nobody's getting special hints or clues or anything else that everybody else hasn't gotten as well.
And in our little intro video that we play, which I did not play, but I'll play it at the end of the show, the Treasure Hunt Amusement Park, it says the treasure is the hook, but I really think it's you two are the hook for this particular one because we know you. A lot of the searchers have met you at the various events and functions. So it's just, it's different. If a stranger had your exact same hunt, it would not have the same appeal, in my opinion.
And we hope, we feel like our brand is a very positive brand. And that we wanted to do this, having learned the lessons of other treasure hunts. We knew it wasn't going to be a $1 million or $2 million treasure hunt, but we wanted to make it fun and we wanted to make it fair. And we wanted to give everybody an equal chance. So we think we've accomplished that. And I got to write a book that I've been threatening to write for years. So.
Oh, that's awesome.
And his family enjoys it because it's a lot of true stuff about his family and his heritage and the people he grew up with. So they're excited about it.
Now, can your son go look, Toby, or is family ineligible?
What we said was that blood members, sons, daughters, grandchildren, anybody in the bloodline. I just found out that my cousin's son, who I've never actually met, he's a second cousin. He bought the book and. Right. Thinking of looking for it, but direct family, Jason can't look for it, for example. So yeah. But
go ahead.
All the kids bought the book, so
of course they're going to read it. Yeah. Somebody wanted to know where you guys stayed in New Orleans when you were there, if you want to say.
We didn't stay in New Orleans. We drove in and out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pandemic was going on, so we tried to get away from people as much as we could.
Gotcha. Somebody wants to know if you rented a car for your trip.
We did not. We took the little red truck. The one that's crossing the Rio de los Pinos that you see all the time.
You're going to get all the the Forrest Fenn questions. You're going to get.
I'm sure we will. And some of them we're prepared to answer. Some of them will be answered by everything you need to know is in the book.
And Czar must be tuning in late because he says, is there a deadline it needs to be found? Yes, August 31st of next year, midnight, correct? Do I have that right? Whatever time zone you decide to go with.
9 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time, August 31st, 2021.
So we have 1 year and the clock is ticking. We are 3 days into this thing.
Yeah, the clock started ticking 3 days ago, and you have the year to find it. And the good news is, if you don't find it, we'll reveal everything, all the clues, all the hints. We'll walk you through the hints in the book. Where's your book? Is this yours?
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see this because the green screen. Oh, we don't have the green screen problem.
Don't.
With all the answers in it? Is this the proof?
So what Shelley has done is.
Don't show them too much.
All right. All right.
He
So-
opened up the
Find
Don't
one-
show.
Let's see. Okay, so I don't know what'll happen when I put it up on the screen. But what Shelley has done is she's gone through the entire book, and you can't see it.
Oh, it's highlighted. I can see it. I can see it's highlighted.
And she's highlighted all the hints, and
So-
there are dozens.
There was one word highlighted there that I saw, but we couldn't tell what page that's on. So that's interesting. So one word could be a hint. Is that right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Oh, this is probably going to be difficult.
Yeah, we decided not to make it. It's not easy.
Right. Which is part of the fun. Everybody has a chance. Yeah.
When people were chiding us, for lack of a better way to describe it, about I can't read the text on the palm. If you can't do that, quit now, because it doesn't get any easier. It's not going to get easier.
And
So,
go get Vegas die, right? Yeah. Go to the other treasure hunt if you don't like the hard one.
drive to Vegas, have a good time, and that's why I don't want to say we feel like our treasure hunt is different. We feel like our treasure hunt is very much in our brand. It's branded AGK, and it's us. This is the treasure hunt that we came up with, and it's a partnership as usual. I had the story. We wrote it together. We added the treasure hunt component together, and we relied on her to write the English version before it was translated.
So you wrote the poem in English first, and then you guys decided, you know what? Let's translate this to French to make it a little bit harder.
Well, that's halfway true. We wrote it in English, but we wrote it in English knowing that we were going to publish it in French.
Interesting. And somebody says when you run out of the first printing, will there be a second printing? As long as people are buying it, you're going to keep making them, right?
No, it's through Amazon.
Print on demand.
So
Yeah.
it's print on demand. If you order
It'll
it,
be available forever on Amazon.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
if you order it, they will ship it.
Gotcha. Okay. So it's not like you've done an initial run of 10,000 copies. It's just there when people order it. Gotcha. And that's the way of the world nowadays. It's
Once
just
the treasure's been found, we'll drop the price down.
okay. Right. There you go. Right.
We'll republish without the idea that, take out the rules of the treasure hunt. It's still a good story. It's a good week. The category that we're in is fiction, coming of age, and a couple of others that we're in, but it's a great coming of age story. It's very instructive.
Yeah, it's a hero's journey.
Eleanor Blass asks, I have a question. Would you say that the hints in the book are confirmers as to whether your poem translation or solve is correct or not?
I think that's the word that you used this afternoon.
It depends on how you look at it. I think so.
Yeah.
Like we've been saying, the hints will help you get a starting place.
Well, if you would give us one of the hints, we could determine if that's true or not.
Yeah, let me give
Well,
you. Let me
maybe
give
in
you
about
some-
6 months, or actually when we have 50 reviews on Amazon. then we
50
know.
reviews, everybody. We get that tonight. Come on. I know more than 50 people have ordered the book. 50 reviews. Just go to Amazon and review it. I will be as soon as I get it going tonight.
Just counting the numbers, not the number of stars. So
Yeah.
just 50.
So if next week, if you have 50, you will give a hint that soon?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay.
Because that informs us that a lot of people have the book. They've had a chance to look at it. And, so then, yeah, I think we're ready at that point.
Captain Marvel says, how will they know if the finder, I think doesn't let them know right away. So I find the proxy item. Why would I not contact you right away? I mean,
Yeah,
that's-
because the proxy item's worth, it's
Nothing.
a cute little chest and everything, but $10,000 is here.
if they don't contact you, you won't know unless you have plans to check on it throughout the year. Maybe.
So we are not going to travel to check on it throughout the year. Okay. If we are not informed that it is found, we will go in August or September of next year to document the fact that here's the clues, et cetera, et cetera. But until then, if they don't inform, we're in the same boat that
Yeah.
Force was in. If you don't inform us, then you don't inform us. I don't know why anyone would do that.
Yeah, because it's not a treasure. It's just a little treasure box.
Yeah.
And it's just got a little token in it.
And
that's
we're
all it
okay
is.
with that. And the reason we're okay with that is that we would, whether we were informed or not, on September 1st, we're going to reveal,
Yeah.
on or around September 1st, we're going to reveal the clues. And if we end up there and there's no box, because the treasure, so let's say it's September 1st, we go to our location, we discover, and we start going through the clues and the hints, and we discover when we get to the location where the treasure proxy was hidden that it's not there. It doesn't make any difference because you've cheated yourself. The treasure hunt is over.
Yeah.
So
Right.
it's not like you can come back after 2 weeks and say, I got it, it's that's why we made the rules the way we made the rules. So it's in their best interest to do that.
Mhm.
If they don't, then we roll the treasure over into
Right.
our hands. And we've already decided the next hunt is going to be in the states of Arizona, Nevada, and Utah.
Oh, nice. Nevada. I'll be all over that one. Okay. Captain Marvel says, I thought the rules say 24 hours to notify, but how would you guys know when somebody finds it to know when the 24-hour clock starts?
Well, and we'll tell everybody else.
Yeah.
You have 24 hours to notify everyone. Is that what that meant?
Once we're
Yeah.
notified, and I think that's what the rule says. Once we're notified, we'll notify everybody else within 24 hours. We covered this territory with the attorney.
3D bronze.
Super chat from 3D Bronze. He says, in my opinion, the proxy is worth way more than $10,000.
Well, it is because it contains the token that represents the treasure. So yeah.
Oh, Space Ghost got a good question. Will the poem have me circling back on the route, or is it a direct, this is where you go, or could you be leading people in different directions or ways?
It's
Direct.
direct.
It's direct. If you interpret it correctly, it'll take you right to it, I guess you could say. We've heard that before. So you're not going to do we have a way to know, but we're not going to tell you what it is. You're not going to do any of that of the proxy item. Good. Okay.
So there's
No, we won't until they come. But we did leave a business card in there so that they can call us and say, I found this.
Yeah.
And if they don't know anything about the treasure hunt, but they somehow stumbled across it, which I don't think is possible, but it's in the realm of it could happen. And they call us because our business card's in there, and we'll say, oh, you just won $100,
Now you would have to end it, wouldn't you? Or would you can't rehide it because somebody's found it. Yeah, right.
Yeah, because someone's found it, and there's the possibility now if they're the kind of people that say, well, I'm just going to leave it here and go on my merry way. That's one thing, but we don't know how that's going to happen. We don't expect that to happen.
Yeah,
we did incorporate it into the rules
It's
just in
pretty
case
well
it did,
written.
but the likelihood of somebody stumbling upon it is slim to none.
Yeah.
Zar has a question. Could you fly to a major city and be able to find it, like Uber a short distance, or would we have to use a vehicle of our own?
Not in a municipality. What's that one?
So let's see.
And just so everybody knows, when you get your book, and if you haven't ordered it, you should go to Amazon, order A Gypsy's Kid Treasure Hunt. There's a rules and regulations section where they go over a lot of these scenarios and a lot of the different these ideas, these questions that are being asked are answered.
All the rules and caveats and suggestions are also in our free download. So you can get the free download. It's got the rules. It's got the poem. It's got the map. So a lot of stuff in that free download. So make sure you get that.
So
That's available on our website.
if I just go through, the treasure proxy is hidden, not buried. It does not require any digging. The treasure proxy is hidden on public land. not on private, corporate, or tribal land. It is not hidden within the boundaries of any municipality, town, or city. The treasure proxy is not hidden on railroad property or right of way. The treasure proxy is not hidden in a graveyard or cemetery. The treasure proxy is not hidden on any property administered by the U.S. National Park Service. The treasure proxy is not hidden in a cave, mine, tunnel, or in or underwater. Treasure proxy is not problematic due to its proximity to a public structure. Examples include highways, bridges, major roadways, dams, government buildings, schools, military installations, hospitals, or airports. There is no overt danger involved in the retrieval of the treasure proxy. The recovery of the proxy is appropriate for all ages at an average level of physical fitness. No extreme feats of strength or agility are required. A 71-year-old angry man of average fitness hid the treasure proxy without exertion or difficulty.
Why were you angry?
I don't know, just finding a treasure proxy does not require a searcher to circumvent national, state, local, or other laws and does not require trespassing.
Yeah. We got a lot of these ideas from geocaching rules.
That makes sense. This is kind of a geocache. It's just the clues are hidden. You got to figure them out, right?
Yeah.
So I'm looking at this poem that's framed on my wall, and it's got a poem and it's got a map. Any ideas of making a map and poem of your own for your treasure hunt?
Wow, nice
hadn't
idea.
thought about that.
I one. Wouldn't that be cool? You do it landscape with the route, and then have the poem, right? Wouldn't that be awesome?
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty easy route to follow. It needs some, I would probably have to give it to my daughter so that it looked nice. I basically drew the route by hand for all intents and purposes. What we're thinking about doing, one of the things that we talked about today and we'll probably implement is we're going to make a collectible coin. And it's going to have our logo on one side, and then it's going to have something that represents this particular treasure hunt on the other side with a year, 2020, 2021.
Gotcha.
And we're going to give it a name.
And
so
I think we both know somebody that could make a frame out of copper that would hold that coin for the map. So,
Yeah.
that would be pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Great idea.
So, and we'll
And if you do want to purchase a signed copy of the book or one of our treasure coins, they are available in our little store on our website at gypsieskiss.com. We thought we'd go ahead and put that up there for people who are interested. So you can check that out.
Put a link to the website in the chat. I also put a link to Amazon where you can order a book in the chat. And I invite everybody to get on this treasure hunt because there's going to be a lot of us picking this thing apart. So me and Christy are going to do Zooms, private Zooms, meaning not for YouTube, for a Gypsy's Kiss. We're not going to start. We're going to do those Thursdays, like we said, but we're going to start next week to give people a time to get the book. Plus, Christy's gone. She's in Yellowstone. So starting next Thursday, after our normal shows, we're going to have the private Zoom for AGK. You're both invited to listen in.
Oh, that would be yeah, I think that would be
listen in and see what the crazy theories are.
Yeah, we can go in without and maintain
Just
our
listen,
No audio, no video, but you can listen.
yeah. We'll see how close people are getting.
Me and Christy have done it on our grand adventures. We offer the Zoom as a opportunity for people to come together and collaborate. I still think that's why mine was solved first. And yeah, it's really interesting to hear the ideas.
When is the AGK one?
Thursday night.
Thursday nights, it would be 8 p.m., which I believe is an hour. 8 p.m. Pacific, I think, is 9 p.m.
Oh, 9 p.m. for us. Okay, that's good. We can do that. Shelley can do it from her house, and I can do it from mine. So
anybody that's interested, you've got to email me. We don't just put the Zoom out there. Email me to get on a list, and then you will be sent the link, and I will put you two on the list, of course. You'll be the first ones on the list.
Awesome.
So I do want to clarify, if you buy the book from Amazon, you're buying a non-signed book. Not that you need to have a signed book, and it's $19.99. If you go to
For the
our
paperback,
website, right,
$9.99 for the ebook.
if you go to our website, you can at gypsieskiss.com, you can press on the shop or the store. Is it shop or
Shop.
Shop, and you can order a signed copy of the book, and it's $5 more, but that covers shipping. So it's no more. It doesn't cost you any more to buy the signed copy other than the paying for the shipping. So if you want a signed copy, we'll be happy to send you one.
And right here's a link with the treasure hunt page, I guess you could say. And there's also a place for everybody to put their email. So when you guys email communications, you're on your list, right?
Yeah, that'll add you to our list. The people who have downloaded the booklet, the helpful booklet, they're already on the list. So and the people that downloaded the larger copy of the Treasureverse. They're also on the list already.
So we want to try to email at least once a week and just give you updates, especially winners of things. Like we gave away 10 books this week, and we would include, here's the winners in case you missed the show, or all the gold bars that we were giving away for the GoFundMe donors. We gave away one on Tuesday and one on Wednesday, and we're giving away another one next Wednesday. So you can continue to donate to the GoFundMe campaign and still have a chance at winning one of those gold bars.
And we've only heard so we don't have any way to contact the GoFundMe campaign. So we've given away 2 bars already, and we haven't heard from the winners. And they have till
we're going to put that up in a blog post on our website, who won, and we're sending people there, hoping that they'll see that they've won.
We're going to send an email to the people that won the books because we have their email address. GoFundMe doesn't share the email address with us, so they have till the start of the show next Wednesday to collect. So we may be giving gold bars away here for a while.
Okay. Well, there's nothing wrong with giving away gold. That's a hot commodity nowadays.
By the way, I should mention those were donated to us by Rich Dickerson of Legacy Treasures.
Adventures.
Right.
Legacy Adventures.
Legacy.
That's what somebody said in the chat room last night. And I looked
Legacy?
up Legacy Treasures and I couldn't find it.
Okay,
So
Legacy Adventures. All right.
Any plans for a book signing in the Albuquerque area where people could come meet you, get it signed, that kind of stuff?
Until I'm high at risk with the virus, and so we have to just if we get a vaccine, then eventually we'll do that.
yeah, that's why we're offering it on our website, the signed copy there.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, everybody. Gypsy's Kiss, the treasure hunt. Pretty awesome. I just can't believe you guys pulled it off in 3 months. I mean, and this isn't like something you just whip together. You know what I mean? You pulled off the treasure, the book, the poem, the whole thing. You hit it, and it's out. It's here. So that's great.
We're going to spend 15 years on it, man.
Right. All right, I'm going to get busy translating this poem. So everybody go pick out the book. Email me, cowlazars@gmail.com, if you'd like to be on our Zooms that we're going to do on every Thursday. And again, it's not we're going to split. It's a deal. It's an open Zoom. Anybody can join. It's just a place to discuss the book, the clues, the poem. So now that I know Shelley created it, interesting. Now I want to get K-Pro's input. I want the female perspective now. So, okay. Everybody in Yellowstone, have fun, take a lot of videos and pictures. We want to see what kind of fun you're having up there. And what I've heard is that they posted a lot of pictures on Facebook already in the Grand Adventure. So you guys can check that out. Now, Shelley, is that you on the cover? Is that supposed to be?
I don't know. You'd have to ask Sean Wells. She drew like, hey, that looks like me.
Okay, everybody, we're going to go out. Thank you both for coming on. We do appreciate it.
Thanks for the invitation. We appreciate it.
We're going to go out with the little outro video. And if you'll notice that AGK is one of the rides in Treasure Hunting Amusement Park. Thanks, everybody. Here we go.
On car ride.
Open when it's light, it's open when it's dark. It's the Treasure Hunt Amusement Park. Masquerade and Forest Fen are closed, but there are plenty more rides than just those. There's Beacon Star and Treasure Man, Vegas Die and Oak Island. Give them a try and you'll be smiling. This place never closes, that's for certain. There's always a reason to keep searching. Boots on the ground, look, look, look. Your ticket to the ride is the book. The dream of the treasure is the hook. The dream of the treasure is the hook. Keep searching forever, start searching now. Grand adventures with K-Pro and Cow. The secret, a gypsy's kiss, the whistle pig. Come watch our show, win a prize, little or big. This place never closes, that's for certain. There's always a reason to keep searching. Boots on the ground, look, look, look. Your ticket to the ride is the book. The dream of the treasure is the hook. The dream of the treasure is the hook.
Thanks, Mike. Good night. Good night, Search Daughter.
Death Drop. That was the ride. Death Drop. We may have to change.